Well, hello. It's Monday, April 20th, and I'm Pam, and welcome to the reading of the Mansfield News Journal. We will begin today's reading with the area deaths. Daniel Joseph Drohard of Mansfield passed away early Wednesday morning at Hospice of Central Ohio at the OSU Wexner Medical Center in Columbus at the age of 70. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, a private family service will be held with burial in Mansfield Memorial Park. The Diamond Street home of Wapner Funeral Directors is honored to serve this family. Lester Estep, 75, of Galion, passed away April 15th. Arrangements by Snyder Richardson Davis Chapel. Arthur Lynn Fraley, 41, of Perrysville, passed away April 15th. Warner Gompf Funeral Limited is handling arrangements. Robert Anthony Soupy Grillo, 80, of Mansfield, passed away Friday following a short illness. Private graveside services will be held in Mansfield Cemetery. The Diamond Street home of Wapner Funeral Directors is honored to serve the family. Mia M. Harrington, 28, of Mansfield, passed away April 14. Arrangements entrusted to Warner Gompf Funeral Services Limited. Dawn Humphrey of Mansfield passed away March 30th at the age of 65. Snyder Funeral Home is honored to serve her family. Derek Hunt, 47, of Mansfield, passed away April 12th. Williams Funeral Service is handling arrangements. Nancy Lou Lehman, age 82, of Mansfield, passed away Thursday evening at Ohio Health Mansfield Hospital. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, a private family service will be observed. She will be laid to rest in Mansfield Memorial Park. The Diamond Street home of Wapner Funeral Directors is honored to serve the family. Jean Lilly, 74, of Danville, passed away April 18th. Fisher Funeral Home is handling arrangements. Thomas Michael Moyer, 73, passed away peacefully on April 7. A funeral mass at St. Stephen's Catholic Church in Riverview, Florida, will take place Tuesday at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. The Mass will be live streamed through St. Stephen's Catholic Church Facebook video option. Janet Eileen Page, age 80, of Mansfield and formerly of Ashland, went to be with the Lord Friday morning from her home. A public graveside service will be held Wednesday at 1 p.m. in Maple Grove Cemetery, Chesterville. The Lexington Avenue Snyder Funeral Home is serving the family. Louetta Grace Price, 75, of Mount Gilead, passed away April 13th at Crystal Care Center in Mansfield. A graveside service will be held at 2 p.m. Wednesday at Fairview Cemetery, Galion. Richardson Davis Chapel of Snyder Funeral Homes in Galion is honored to serve the family. Evelyn Schiffley, 85, of Galion, was called home to be with the Lord on Wednesday. Burial will occur in the Iberia Cemetery. A private family service will take place at a later date. Richardson Davis Chapel of Snyder Funeral Homes in Galion is honored to serve the family. Sergeant Thomas Jacob Truex, age 27, passed away in Okinawa, Japan, March 31, where he was stationed as a Marine. A graveside service will be held at 1 p.m. in Mount Hope Cemetery, Shiloh. Bardell Funeral Homes and Crematory in Shelby is honored to assist the family with arrangements. That concludes the Monday Mansfield News Journal area death notices. Now for our first article. Mansfield Community Development and Housing Director fired. Monroe Trombley, Mansfield News Journal. Tracy Bond, Community Development and Housing Director, has been terminated from her job. Mayor Tim Thaker sent a letter Tuesday to Bond in which he wrote that, after discussions regarding performance issues effective immediately, her employment with the city had been terminated. Bond, according to the letter, will be placed on paid administrative leave through May 1 so as to extend her insurance coverage until May 31. Your access to city computer equipment is being terminated today, and you are asked to turn keys, your city ID card, and any other city property over to Director Ken Coons immediately, Thaker wrote, referring to the city's Human Resources Director. Bond, who held the role for less than 2 years, became Director of Community Development and Housing in September 2018. Her total earnings were $56,024 in 2019, according to Mansfield Online Payroll Report. Bond could not be reached for comment. In recent weeks, Bond had recommended to Mansfield City Council that 2 affordable housing projects not receive any federal money from the Home Investment Partnership Program run by the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. Federal funding? No federal funds recommended for 2 affordable housing projects. The economic impact? Mansfield Finance Director projects 20% revenue loss due to coronavirus. While not entirely convinced, Council ultimately agreed to go along with Bond's recommendation last week, approving Thaker to submit the city's plan to HUD on how Mansfield would dole out the 2020 Home Award. Despite skepticism, especially from 3rd Ward Councilman John Van Harlingen, who at one point questioned whether Bond's office had done its due diligence, the Community Development Director had maintained that North End Community Improvement Collaborative and the local District of Area Agencies on Aging did not meet the requirements in their applications for funding. She had instead said the 2 groups could potentially receive unspent home funds that were awarded to Mansfield in previous years. Attorney Joseph Recchi penned a letter to Bond earlier this month on behalf of AAA, arguing that her office's decision was incorrect. Before working for the city, Tracy Bond worked as an internship program coordinator at The Ohio State University. Bond, a 1999 Ontario graduate, is a native of the area, growing up in Shelby and Ontario. After high school, Bond attended Capital University for a few years, studying music composition and piano. But she eventually changed direction, switching to The Ohio State University to study political science. She earned a bachelor's in political science in 2008 and a master's in public policy and management in 2016. Along with an internship in the Community Development Office, she also interned with Downtown Mansfield, Inc. and the Richland County Prosecutor's Office. Bond completed a housing study of Mansfield foreclosures and started a local office of empowering and strengthening Ohio's people, a housing and financial counseling agency, according to previous reporting. In the position, Bond said she saved more than 500 homes in Mansfield in 3 years from foreclosure. She later took a management position with the agency, managing its offices around Ohio. Bond then took a position at OSU, working as an internship program coordinator. She presently serves as a board member with the Richland County Domestic Violence Shelter and the Richland County Historical Society, according to Bond's LinkedIn profile. Our next article is titled, Longtime Superintendent Mike Ziegelhofer Announces Intent to Retire from Lexington, by Mark Caudell, Mansfield News Journal. In Lexington, District Superintendent Mike Ziegelhofer on Wednesday night announced his intent to retire after 32 years in the position. Ziegelhofer told the Board of Education that his retirement is effective August 1. Board members accepted his retirement with regret. Time is a thief, Board President Bob Whitney said. It seems like just yesterday when he came here as a young person. In his letter to the board, Ziegelhofer told members his decision came after months of thought and prayer. This has been a difficult decision as I have ever had to make, he wrote. Being a part of the Lexington team is literally a part of who I am, and I thank God for that. Ziegelhofer's career in education spans 45 years. Prior to Lexington, he served stints at Willard and Crestview. In quotes, and the tremendous opportunities I had the past 32 years with Lexington schools have been blended into a career in education that has been more meaningful and rewarding than I could have ever dreamed of or hoped for, he wrote. I love being a part of the Lexington schools and working with our entire team to provide our students the best educational and co-curricular opportunities possible, to positively influence their lives and provide them every opportunity to be as well prepared as possible for whatever comes next. After the meeting, Ziegelhofer said he wanted to step aside to give a younger person the same opportunity he received. I'm certainly here for the district in any way. I'm not going anywhere, he said. I'm also not done serving. I'll look for the next opportunity. The superintendent added he can honestly say I've loved every minute. Ziegelhofer and Whitney have been district leaders for decades together. There was a time that he talked about leaving, Whitney recalls. I thought he should stick around. I certainly appreciate all he's put into this district. Board Vice President Keith Stoner offered his heartfelt thanks for all your leadership. The board attended to other personnel issues at the open meeting. Counting board members, administrators, and one reporter, there were 9 people at the session. All observed social distancing. Michael Grist will be the new principal at Eastern Elementary School, replacing Buddy Miller, who resigned in January. Grist, who received a 2-year contract, is the high school athletic director and a Lexington alum. More news. Lexington School Board accepts resignation of elementary school principal. He was the first-class student, and he's a first-class man, Ziegelhofer said. Assistant Superintendent Jeremy Seacrest is filling in as Eastern principal for the remainder of the school year. The board also is bringing back Central Elementary Principal Kathy Wittig for 1 year on a retire/rehire. Ziegelhofer gave the board an update on what the district has been doing since Governor Mike DeWine closed all K-12 schools at least through May 1 because of the coronavirus pandemic. Personnel have been giving out 5 days of lunches on Mondays. Ziegelhofer estimated they gave out nearly 2,000 lunches this week. Our assembly line is a thing of beauty, Seacrest said. All of you are to be commended for the effort you put forth, Whitney said. It may never come back what we knew as school. Board members also watched a slideshow consisting of videos made by staff and students at some of the district schools, as well as emails from grateful parents. The story is how remarkable our staff has been and loving and serving the students, Ziegelhofer said. Our next article is titled Robert Peterson to Lead Madison Local Schools by Zach Tuggle, Mansfield News-Journal. In Madison Township, Robert Peterson is the new superintendent of Madison Local Schools. Members of the district's school board voted 4-1 to hire him during a Friday afternoon meeting that was held online out of concern for the novel coronavirus that causes COVID-19. Peterson is a graduate of the school district and has worked for Madison Local Schools for 3 decades. He spent the last 12 years serving as the high school's principal. He begins his 3-year contract as superintendent August 1. The only dissenting vote came from board member Jane McGinty. I am not against you, but I am, McGinty told Peterson before voting. Not because of your experience, but whenever you want to take the time for me to come in and talk to you, then I would like to do that with you at some time, okay? The move was the latest in a saga that begins with the hiring of Shelley Hildebrand as the district superintendent in August 2017. By September 21, 2018, she was placed on paid administrative leave. Lee Capel was quickly appointed acting superintendent before John Thomas was hired as an interim superintendent. Tim Wigton, president of the school board, thanked the Mid-Ohio Education Service Center, specifically Superintendent Kevin Kimmel and consultant Ed Swartz, for helping board members select Peterson from a field of candidates. The talent pool provided by Mid-Ohio ESC offered a lot of experienced candidates, pointed out Amy Walker, the school board's vice president. But she noted that Peterson's experience is not that of someone who has held many titles in other districts, but that of a person who has a great amount of knowledge of his home community. There was only one candidate in mind out of all the candidates that we viewed that had the experience that this district needs, Walker said. The experience comes along with knowing where we've been, the hurt that we've been through. Mr. Peterson, you lived it. For 29 years, you've been with us in this district. In a news release, the new superintendent said he wants to cultivate a strong sense of unity and trust throughout the district and the school community. I feel honored to be selected to lead the Madison Local School District, Peterson wrote, and I would like to thank the Board of Education for providing me with this opportunity. I have a strong passion for Madison students, staff, and the Madison community, and look forward to providing the necessary leadership and support to help move the district forward. We have great students at Madison, and we want to challenge them and support them every day so that when they graduate, they are fully ready to be successful in the pathway of their choice. Our next article is titled Coronavirus. COVID-19 Pandemic Can't Stop a Man's Love for His Ailing Wife by Mark Caudill, Mansfield News Journal. Call it love in the time of the corona pandemic. O'Fennell Davis, 88, can't visit his wife Mildred because of the threat of COVID-19. Mildred, a resident of Liberty Nursing Center of Mansfield, is stricken with dementia. But that doesn't prevent O'Fennell from being a present in Mildred's life. He still stops by the nursing home, usually twice a day, to stand outside her window. Sometimes she recognizes me and sometimes she doesn't, O'Fennell said. He will often leave snacks on the porch for his beloved Mildred. They will be married for 68 years on June 9th. Diana Johnson, Life Enrichment Coordinator for Liberty Nursing Center, gets choked up when she thinks of the couple's love story. He is the poster boy of dedication, Johnson said of O'Fennell. Every young person should witness the devotion he has to his wife. He needs to be part of the educational system. O'Fennell realized in the last couple of years that something was not right with Mildred. She sometimes wet herself on the drive to the VA clinic in Cleveland. She started leaving the water run, he added. One incident told him things would never be the same. Mildred was cooking for the grandchildren, insisting they were at the house when they weren't. All are adults. I sat on the steps and cried like a baby, O'Fennell said. I knew what was coming. In late 2017, he knew he couldn't give Mildred the care she needed after she wandered out into the street. City firefighters brought her home. I still wanted to hold off, but I knew it was time, O'Fennell said. I couldn't wait no longer. And the love story begins. Mildred came to Mansfield from Jasper, Alabama after graduating from high school in 1951. She stayed with her sister and helped raise her sister's 2 young boys. The couple started dating in the fall of that year. I had to pass by her house on my way home, O'Fennell said. I thought I could never get enough of this woman. When asked what he liked about Mildred, he said simply, everything. Sitting in a recliner in the living room of their 1-story green and brown house on the city's south side, O'Fennell recalls his courtship with his wife. He sat with a U.S. Marine blanket, a gift from the nursing home, draped over his legs. I didn't know what to say to a girl when I was 18, he said. The young adult must have done something right. O'Fennell and Mildred married on June 9, 1952, on her 19th birthday. What she got was a ball of clay with a handful of work and not much time to do it, O'Fennell said. He was called to serve in the U.S. Army for the Korean War. They were apart for 2 years while O'Fennell served stateside. We went to a gypsy on Main Street, he said. She told us I would be going on a long trip. After his stint in the Army, O'Fennell and Mildred were always together except for 2 weeks a year for his summer service in the Army Reserves. And through the years, O'Fennell graduated from Mansfield Senior High School in 1951. While there, he was a standout athlete, helping the shuttle hurdle relay teams to a record at the time. He said he grew up poor. I didn't know what was on the other side of Bowman Street, he said. As an adult, O'Fennell ended up working security for 40 years at leading businesses such as Westinghouse, Mansfield Tire, and Armco Corporation. He also did 10 years of security work at the local hospital. Mildred worked the elevator at Richland Trust and met President John F. Kennedy when he came to town. She has an autograph of his, O'Fennell said. I don't know what happened to it. O'Fennell became a history buff. He has displayed throughout town detailing the history of the Still Mill and Mansfield senior football. The Tigers won a state champion in 1949. It was just like the end of the Second World War, O'Fennell said. Everybody was uptown celebrating. He and Mildred settled into a small-town life. We had our ups and downs like everybody, O'Fennell said. She had to look the other way sometimes when I got in trouble. Mildred, who was raised in the church, became an usher at Mount Calvary Baptist Church. She wouldn't miss a service and loved to garden. They had one son, Dexter, who died 10 years ago at the age of 55. Their first home was on Prescott Street near a railroad track. A family member gave O'Fennell the lot. O'Fennell said one of his friends noted, "You always feel like you're going someplace when visiting the house because of the frequent train traffic." Mildred was eager to leave the noise, and the couple moved to Home Avenue for 10 years before finding their permanent home on Dale Avenue in 1975. It hasn't had a woman's touch in 2 years, O'Fennell laminated. In Life Today, Ophenel credits the couple's long lives to taking care of themselves. He and the late Mansfield Police Chief Lawrence Harper were jogging partners, while Mildred and a friend walked several miles a day. Take care of yourself when you're younger, Ophenel said. I was a physical specimen. He knows the couple's time together is coming to an end and has already made arrangements. She was just a loving person. Everybody that met her liked her, Ophenel said of Mildred. She was a forgiving person. She didn't hold no grudge against nobody. She was everything for me. That's been evident to the staff at Liberty Nursing Center. I've made him a promise that she will not forget him as long as I'm here and I can talk about Ophenel, Johnson said. I have never witnessed anything like it in my life. I think they broke the mold. Ophenel fondly recalls a day when the staff brought Mildred to the window, and she placed her hand against it when she saw him. He almost cried. I don't know if I'll see her again, he said. Johnson is hopeful he will, and that life will return to normal after the pandemic. As soon as it's over, we're going to throw a big party for Mr. Davis and Millie, she said. Oh, well, that's the end of that article. Well, our next article is titled Miss Ohio to be held in August at Ashland High School by Lou Whitmire, Mansfield News Journal. In Mansfield, the Miss Ohio Scholarship Program, traditionally held in June, will be moved to August and held at Ashland High School, Miss Ohio Executive Director Steve Oliveri said Saturday. Changes have been made because of the concerns and fears that the already scheduled June 12th through 20 Miss Ohio Week in Mansfield would be too soon due to the current COVID-19 pandemic, Oliveri said. The historic Renaissance Theater, home to the Miss Ohio show for decades, is booked August 8 through 15, and Oliveri said this date is the best for the contestants, many who will be returning to school and college at the end of August. We are heartbroken not to have the Miss Ohio program at the Renaissance as we have had for many years, Oliveri said. We're doing as much as we can in Richland County. He said the Miss Ohio Scholarship Program and Miss Ohio Outstanding Teen both will be held at Archer Auditorium in Ashland High School in Ashland. The Miss Ohio's Outstanding Teen Program will be held August 10th at Ashland High School. Contestants will be welcomed to Miss Ohio Week at the Richland Mall in Ontario on August 8th. On August 9, the Lexington Blueberry Festival has invited the Miss Ohio and Miss Ohio's Outstanding Teen contestants to be part of the Blueberry Festival Parade in Lexington at 2 p.m., Oliveri said. Following the parade, contestants will have the traditional photographs taken at the Richland Carousel Park downtown Mansfield. Miss Ohio preliminary competitions will be held August 13 and 14 at Ashland High School. The final night of competition will be held August 15 at the high school, followed by the traditional coronation party held at the Mansfield Holiday Inn downtown, next to the Renaissance Theater, Oliveri said. He said everything is contingent with proper social distancing etiquette. Plans are subject to change, he said. Currently, there are 24 Miss Ohio contestants and 14 Miss Ohio Outstanding Teen contestants competing. Our next article is titled, Mansfield Police Say Counterfeit Suspects Identified with Public's Help. In Mansfield police said that thanks to help from the public, they were able to identify 2 suspects who they say used counterfeit money to buy items at stores in the city. Mansfield Police Captain Sherry Robertson said, Mansfield Division of Police would like to thank those who called in and contacted us in reference to the counterfeit cases. With the community's assistance and the numerous tips they provided, we were able to identify those 2 suspects in the photos. No arrests have been made as of Friday noon, and the investigation remains ongoing, Robertson said. We continue to work with the U.S. Secret Service to identify others who may be involved in this illegal activity. We are asking that anyone who may have additional information about these counterfeit cases to please call Detective Richard Clapp at 419-755-9470. The Mansfield Division of Police received 10 reports in March of counterfeit bills being passed at local businesses. The counterfeit notes have been in denominations of both 20 and 100, the majority being in 20s. The bills, not limited to Mansfield, often share the same serial numbers and are easily identified using a counterfeit protection pen, police said in a news release. Businesses that have received counterfeit bills include fast food and local restaurants, dry cleaners, gas stations, convenience stores, and department stores. Police have released 2 pictures, one of a suspect who is accused of purchasing a television from Walmart at 7:24 p.m. March 11 with counterfeit notes. So the other shows what police believe to be a dark-colored SUV crossover. The suspect, helped by the car's driver, loaded the television into the cargo area, police said. Police are urging local businesses that have received counterfeit notes to contact local law enforcement immediately and provide as much information as possible about the suspects. Following is police calls from public records. On the 400 block of Cherry Street, police were called Saturday morning after a 59-year-old man reported the door to his detached garage was partially opened when he awoke. The man said a welder and plasma cutter were both missing when he checked the building. Officers collected evidence and photographed the scene. On the 2400 block of Possum Run Road, a 31-year-old man told police that he was supposed to meet the 32-year-old mother of his child at a specific location at 7 a.m. Saturday for a court-ordered custody exchange, and that he notified her in advance that he was running a few minutes late. When he arrived at 7:06 a.m., the woman was not present. The man said the woman never responded to any messages. Officers advised the man that a report would be on file and that he should contact the court of jurisdiction. On the first block of Lind Avenue, a 39-year-old woman called police Saturday morning to report that her 47-year-old ex-boyfriend has had her vehicle since July of last year and will not return it unless she pays him $800 for repairs to the vehicle that she did not authorize. Officers advised her that a report would be on file. On the 400 block of Spring Mill Street, a 48-year-old man called police Saturday morning to report that a 61-year-old man was carrying buckets of scrap metal in and out of an abandoned warehouse nearby. The alleged offender was banging 2 pieces of metal pipe against one another when officers found him, and he denied any wrongdoing. The 71-year-old man who owns the building was contacted, and he said he had given no permission for the items to be taken from his property. The offender admitted to the theft and said he had fallen on hard times and was planning to sell the scrap metal to buy food. Charges were forwarded to the prosecutor's office. Well, my dear friends, this concludes the reading of the Mansfield News Journal for Monday, April 20th. This is PM saying please stay safe if you can, and please stay in. Other than that, make it a great day.